goals are to become a researcher and to make scientific discoveries. It's a good start.
Gamers might feel like they have a superpower, and I might let them have more fun.
Video obtained by ABC News at James Holmes at a summer science camp 6 years ago. Javier Amador is a psychologist and expert on schizophrenia. He joins me now along with security expert Brad Thor, author of Blacklist. Welcome to you both. Javier, talk me through the psychology of, or what you think the psychology is of this killer, because that clip we just saw, perfectly normal clip of a young student. In court today, he showed signs of being pretty disturbed. He could, of course, be putting this on, trying to avoid a potential death penalty sentence. What was your expert view watching him today?
Well, if he was trying to put us on that he's mentally ill, there's a lot of things he could have done. There's a lot of notes he could have written. There's things he could have shouted while he was shooting. That's not what's jumping out at me. You know, where there's smoke, there's fire. Here's a guy who was functioning well, going to college, going to a PhD program, withdrew. Common onset age for people with schizophrenia and illnesses like that, 24. When I first heard about this shooting, my first thought was, I bet he's between the ages of 18 and 25.
And would somebody of that age, if they are genuinely schizophrenic, would they be in control of what they're doing?
Sometimes yes, sometimes not. And let me say, look, from this distance, I can't diagnose him with schizophrenia, but where there's smoke, there's fire. There's so many warning signs. This guy does not have, this young man does not have a history of violence. He doesn't have a history of criminal behavior. He has a history of excelling and then suddenly withdrawing from life. And now he's got bright orange hair, looking like the Joker, doing something that is so unbelievably out of character. What we're hearing so far is actually an incredibly common story. I've worked on about 50 death penalty cases involving people with schizophrenia.
You also have been to see Gerard Loeffner, the Gabby Gifford's attempted assassin.
And someone who killed 6 people.
Right, and you've studied him from a psychological profile. Is there anything similar there in the kind of way they go about what they do?
The similarity in those cases and all the others I've worked on, including the Capitol shooter. Most people don't remember Russell Weston, who charged the Capitol trying to get the Ruby satellite system back from the CIA, is untreated mental illness. People with schizophrenia, Piers, are not more violent than the general population. But, you know, we're talking about gun control, and I think it's an important, incredibly important debate as a U.S. citizen. I'm an immigrant, but I'm a U.S. citizen. It's an important debate, but we're not talking about, what I'm not hearing in the news, is the debate about closing hospitals, mental health hospitals. When we see mental health beds closed, we see a rise in homicides committed by people with mental illness, and it's people with untreated mental illness. So I don't want to add to the stigma about schizophrenia. I would like to add to the stigma about our underfunding of mental health care in America.
It's a good point. Brad, let's turn to the security aspect of this. Is there anything more that can be done to prevent this kind of incident happening again?
Well, Piers, if you want to look at, can we make movie theaters safer, you can always harden the security around these places, but